Hello and a very warm welcome to the weekend edition of Buy Now, Sell Now. I'm Kamya Verma.
Hi everyone, I'm Avan Nabash and it's been a volatile week. So today we're going to help you out with all of your individual stock queries. Lined up on the show today, we've got some viewer questions coming in on IT major TCS as well as Axis Bank.
Well, not just that, we'll also be discussing Dinesh's portfolio on the show.
Time to introduce then our experts who will be with us over the next 30 minutes. On the fundamental side, Gaurang Shah, VP Geojit BNP Paribas joins in. We've also got Sahil Kapoor, who's the Chief Technical Analyst, Edelweiss Securities, who joins in with tech on the technicals. Well, first up, we've got a question coming in from Deepak Bhatia in New Delhi. He's got two queries and he starts off with TCS. Deepak, what's your question?
I have started buying 10 shares of TCS and I want to increase it to around 100 shares holding over the period. Can you advise, is it good to buy TCS at the rate of 2,400 to 2,500 or at the current rate and hold on for 3, 4, 5 years till I have 100 shares? It will be great if you can advise me about the IT.
Okay, that's the question coming in on TCS, which is India's largest software services company. And Deepak wants to know if he should be investing at the current levels. And Sahil would first like to get your thoughts in terms of the technicals. Now, the stock has seen a 52-week high of close to 2,800 mark. And given that the stock currently is trading around 2,600, do you think it's a good buying price for Deepak, or should he wait for stock to go for lower from here and then buy into this?
See, there are two things. First is that TCS is in a multi-year bull market, and it's been one of the best performing IT stocks. So I think with the kind of horizon that he's talking about, 3 to 5 years, I think it's an important point that he should enter at the right price. And currently, I think given the kind of stock price pattern that we have on TCS, I think there is a lot of distribution that has happened. So from current levels, I think there is a good likelihood that it will correct deeply and possibly it will go to 2,200 to 2,250. I think that will be a excellent price for him to enter. So I will advise him not to enter at these prices or even in the range that he mentioned about 24 to 2,500. So I think these two levels possibly will not hold for a while. So I suppose 2,200 to 2,250 is the range that he should look forward to, and he should enter only at that range.
Okay, Deepak, so as of now on the technical charts, it's advisable that you be a little patient. The counter is likely to fall a little bit according to Sahil, and from these levels of 2,600, he believes it's likely to see a correction taper after levels of close to 2,200, which is then when you can look to put in your money. But remember now, on the fundamental side, one of the strongest players in the space, but very conservative in the M&A space, and it's become a little bit of a concern given that most of the rivals have now become increasingly more active when it comes to M&As, the likes of Infosys or even Cognizant, have become very active on the acquisition side. Remember, TCS has about $2.8 billion of cash and cash equivalents as on March 31st, so they're very adequately funded. And analysts believe that if they don't start making investments in the next 2 years, it'll be very difficult for the company to maintain their leadership position solely relying on organic expansion plans. So, Gaurang, let's get in your view from a fundamental perspective. No doubt, one of the stalwarts within the IT space, but is this a good time to buy?
Well, Aman, first a disclosure, we do have a positive coverage on a couple of IT names, and TCS is one of them. And we believe that the negativities in terms of subdued number is done and dusted with going forward. And of course, if you look at the commentary that the management has given, they have given quite a positive outlook for FY16-17. We have recently upgraded targets to about 2,900, 2,950 on TCS, and I think the more sensible strategy for this gentleman would be to add TCS at every gradual correction instead of going in and waiting for a appropriate level to get in. Maybe you might miss the bus. And he's got a very systematic approach. He is wanting to increase to 100 quantity over a period of time. And in my sense, I think it is always advised to, add to TCS at current level, then gradually add on to it as it corrects on the lower side. Thereby, I think you will have a very decent average. At the same time, you will accumulate a sizable amount of quantity. and he's got a long-term time horizon. So as of now, with a 1 year plus time horizon, we are working at the target of 29, 29.50, as I said, and possibly we might review this upwards as and when the numbers tell us to do so. And in terms of organic, inorganic growth and the kind of cash that is there on the balance sheet, I think the management is quite experienced to put it at the right use as and when the time comes.
Okay, Deepak, so there you have it. Both our experts are of the view that you could buy into TCS, but your buying price can be lower is what Sahil recommends. Maybe you should buy into it when the stock is around 2200 levels, whereas Gaurang is of the view that the stock can go as high as 2950, and any time is a good time to buy, and more so when it corrects. Deepak, you have another query on Axis Bank. Please tell us about it.
I want to know, is it good to put it in Axis Bank for short term? I feel they will go up. Kindly advise.
Okay, he feels that the stock will go up, but is it actually going to outperform? Now, thing is, if you look at the performance of an Axis Bank vis-a-vis some of the other banks like an ICICI Bank, investors believe that it is better placed. It's outperformed ICICI by a wide margin in the last 1 year. For example, it's risen almost 69% in the past 1 year, outperforming the bank index, outperforming ICICI Bank as well. Very strong advance growth as well is what is reported in the year, about 18% higher. Provisions for bad loans also in comparison to some of the other banks have been much lesser, and investors have certainly rewarded the company for the better management of bad loans. Let's get in a check, Gaurang. He believes that the stock is going to go up, but do you think that it's prudent to put your money into an Axis Bank at this point in time? But given the volatility we're seeing in the bank nifty of late, it's better to wait it out a little?
Well, again, a disclosure, amongst the frontline names in the private sector bank, we do have a positive coverage on Axis Bank with a price target of about 640. And, if you look at the triggers that will be coming, I think very soon you will have a credit policy on 2nd of June, where the street is expecting a rate cut. And if the RBI governor pleases the market with a larger rate cut than what the street expects, I think it's going to be a great turnaround for the entire banking space, interest-sensitive NBFCs, and the overall equity market. I would say that rather having a short term, have a longer term time horizon. This stock can go to multiple higher levels given the kind of performance that it has delivered quarter on quarter, year on year. So definitely a buy from my side.
Okay, definitely a buy from Gaurang's side. But Sahil, what do the charts suggest to you as far as Axis Bank is concerned?
So in terms of Axis Bank on charts, I think there is clearly outperformance, as you mentioned. If you plot a relative strength comparative, it is outperforming most of the stocks, so it's a well-known thing right now. But on a standalone basis, Axis Bank itself on charts is, appearing to be forming a base. It tried to form a bearish pattern which got negated, and generally when you see negation of any bearish pattern on charts, generally the stock goes to new life highs. So I think closer to 560, it's a good entry in Axis Bank with a stop loss below 530. In the short term itself, I think you should target 630. And today we had a good block deal also happening in Axis Bank. I think that is another indication where multiple block deals have happened closer to this price. So I think this will act as a base in the short term. So you should go ahead and buy for targets of 630.
Okay, there you go, Deepak. It's a thumbs up on both the stocks. Even Axis Bank is a good investment recommendation. Perhaps increase your time horizon when it comes to a solid blue chip such as this. And in fact, Sahil advises that you can buy when it reaches 555. Gaurang's talking about aggressive targets of 640. Hope we helped you out with both of your individual queries. We'll take a quick break on that note. Do come right back. On the other side, we'll be discussing Dinesh's portfolio in our Portfolio Advisor segment.
Lovely to have you back with us on BNSN Weekend.
Okay, we've got our Portfolio Advisor segment lined up. Let's get straight to it. And today we will be discussing Dinesh Nair's portfolio. Well, let's run you through his profile. He's 41 years old. He's an exporter and a short-term time horizon of just the next 3 months of his portfolio. Well, let's see how we can help him out. First up, let's get a glimpse of all the shares that he holds. Starting off with a whopping 1 lakh shares of Amtech India purchased at 41 rupees, and that's certainly making him gold on that investment. Canfin Homes, he's got about 1,000 shares at 558 rupees. Great going on DCB as well. He's got 3,000 shares and he's fetched that at a level of close to 103 rupees. Moving on to Motherson Sumi then, 2,100 shares and he's picked that up at 436 rupees. NRB Bearings, 6,000 shares at 102. 50,000 shares, pardon me, it's 50,000 shares of Rain Industries at 29 rupees, so great going there. Moving on, there's a little bit of exposure to the ADAG group, so 57 rupees is where he's bought close to 50,000 shares of Reliance Communications. There's 1,000 shares of Shasun Pharma, 285 rupees. And Shivam Autotech, well, great gains on that one, 16,000 shares at 69 bucks. So, Gaurang, I think safe to say that he's really making some good money. But in terms of the time horizon, it's just about 3 months and there's a lot of exposure to some of the mid-cap names. What would you advise in terms of diversification and time horizon as well? Because buy price, I think he's pretty bang on.
Yes, Avan, and I think Mr. Dinesh has got a very high risk appetite given the kind of quantity that he's got. And like you were mentioning, the exposure is more or less concentrated towards the mid cap and the small cap. And again, the time horizon of 3 months, I think my first advice would be that try to take as much as profits home. Given the kind of outlook in 3 months, I don't think any major thing is going to turn around in terms of higher levels, either in the frontline indices or mid cap or small cap. So I think you should protect your capital as well as the profits that you're making given the kind of quantity that you have. But he needs to possibly have some churns in the portfolio. And my advice would be to translate your short-term view to a longer term.
Okay, Dinesh, some churns coming your way. So let's take a look at individual stocks that you have in your portfolio. And Gaurang, what are your thoughts on Amtech India, which you bought at 41 and the stock is currently trading at 154. So he's clearly making a lot of profits there. So is there some more upside left? I mean, any room for upside? As well as Canfin Homes, that one also is sitting with good gains and DCB also working in his favor.
Yes, Kamya, so I think given the quantity, Amtech, I think you can definitely take some profits home and of course look at switching. And if he's interested in auto ancillary pack itself, then Exide Industry is a stock that I would possibly advise to buy over here with the small quantity that he will sell from the current stock of Amtech Auto. Exide India, we have Exide Industries, I beg your pardon, we have a target of about 185. So you can make a switch over here. You got a decent quantity. Canfin Homes, a decent stock, but our preference would be towards LIC Housing. We have recently upgraded our targets to about 520 on LIC Housing. DCB, hold on to it. The price target is very close to where the stock is presently, trading at about 136 is what our target. We would possibly revise it upwards, keeping in mind the growth and the numbers that DCB will deliver in coming quarters. But as of now, keep a target of 136. And again, over here, you got 3,000 quantity. You can definitely try to take some money home.
Okay, that's the call coming in on the first 3 stocks. Some exposure to auto ancillary is advised with the recommendation of Exide Industries and a little more safer stocks in the portfolio as well. Speaking of auto ancillary, let's discuss the next stock, Motherson Sumi. And I don't think one can ever go wrong with this one. He is making money on it and there's perhaps some room for upside given the strong management commentary as well as the order wins of late. NRB Bearings, 102. Do you think that, he should put a cap on those gains now? And what's the outlook on Rain Industries? Because as far as I know, it's a pretty large quantity there.
Yes, Avan, again, a great quantity, and I think he's in profits. Firstly, on Motherson Sumi, hold on to it with a target of about 545. You get a dip anywhere close to about, again, your acquisition price, you can add on to Motherson Sumi. Given the kind of outlook that the management has given very recently, we are quite optimistic. And of course, it is one of the auto ancillary companies which is not only present in the domestic market but has a decent client base in the overseas market as well. So hold on to Motherson Sumi. On bad days, you can add to Motherson Sumi the target about 545. On NRB Bearings, again, take some money home. Look at buying into Union Bank. There's one particular bank where the numbers were quite good and as per our expectation, and we believe that turnaround story is just beginning, and you would possibly see targets about 220 on Union Bank. On Rain Industries, Dish TV is what I would like to suggest over here. One of the largest player in the DTH segment, and the numbers are telling us that there is major turnaround that's going to happen in this particular. And not to forget, the entire digitization process is rolling out quite smoothly, And given that, it's one of the largest players, I think this company could possibly have a niche advantage. Currently, we're working with a target of about 90 rupees on Dish TV.
Okay, so good call on Motherson Sumi. However, Gaurang recommends that there should be some exposure to banks as well as media. Gaurang would like to get your thoughts on the next three stocks that he has in his portfolio. From the ADAG back is the Reliance Communications, which he bought at the price of 57, and the stock is currently trading at 64. Shashan Pharma from the pharma space, as well as Shivam Autotech. What are your thoughts?
Well, on Reliance Com, I would say that if you're looking at telecom, cellular service provider operators, then Idea and Bharti are the best suited one. As a disclosure, we do have positive coverage on both. My advice over here would be to switch on to Idea Cellular with a target of 230. And this, of course, target, we have very recently upgraded the target on Idea post the auction that we saw. And of course, the numbers that we are witnessing, especially from the broadband and data services. I think the contribution is likely to go up to a great extent. On Shashun Pharma, you can hold on to it with a target of about 385. On Shivam Autotech, again, good profits and good investment. Look at auto, sector, especially the CV segment. Ashok Leyland is what I would advise him to possibly buy. The stock has been consolidating and correcting, possibly close to anywhere sub 68, closer to 65 levels. It will be a decent level to get into Ashok Leyland with a price target of 78.
Okay, that's the word coming in. Dinesh, on your overall portfolio, no worries at all because you made money on everything. So perhaps in some of the stocks, Gaurang is advising you to take the profits home, and there is an opportunity and there is an option to in fact make more money, which is why he's advised quite a few chops and churns. Let's get started off then and give you a glimpse of all of the changes that he's made in the overall portfolio, starting with the first stock. Amtech India is an exit. Exide Industries gets some exposure there for targets of 185. Exit to Canfin Homes as well. LIC Housing Finance is a much preferred option for targets of 200, 520, pardon me. DCB, stay invested in that banking stock. Watch out for a level of 136. Meantime, Motherson Sumi, thumbs up there, no problems whatsoever. Hold on to that for a target of 545. NRB Bearings is an exit. Get some banking exposure. Union Bank is a preferred option for targets of 220. Dish TV, add in some media to the portfolio as well, would be a preferred option. This is versus Rain Industries, where you can look to book your profits. And watch out for a target of 90 rupees on Dish TV. Idea Cellular, well, that's a preferred option to Reliance Communications for targets of 230. Shashan Pharma, stay put there for targets of 385. And finally, Shivam Autos made you some brilliant money. Book your profits there. Instead, look to add in some exposure to the auto space in the form of Ashok Leyland for a target of 78.
Okay, and here's an important disclaimer for Dinesh as well as all our viewers there. This portfolio recommended is a model portfolio, and please do consult your individual investment advisor before taking any investment-related decisions. And with that, it's time to slip into a short break at this point of time, with some more recommendations coming your way on the other side. Welcome back. You're watching Buy Now, Sell Now Weekend. Let's now get thoughts on the markets from Gaurang as well as Sahil. And Sahil would first like to come to you with a short-term horizon of just say the coming week. How do you expect the Nifty to shape up?
See, in the coming week, because it's an expiry week, I think the most important thing to watch out will be how the options position is panning out. So in the last 5 to 6 sessions, we've seen accelerated put writing happening at 82, 83, 8400 strikes. So I think this clearly indicates that market has found a base, and right now I think that base is closer to 83, 8350. So I don't think Nifty will be able to breach that level on the downside, at least in the next 1 week. And on the upside, 8500 has seen a lot of call option writing. So in the expiry week, I think this should be the range, 8350 to 8500. But there is a possibility that market might try to do a short covering on the upside and possibly try to break 8500 and go closer to 8600. So I think next 1 week, if you get a dip towards 8350, you should look to buy, and your first target should be closer to 8500. If that is breached, then possibly you could see another 100 points on the upside.
Okay, so clear-cut some levels to watch out for, and Sahil believes that it wasn't just a one-week wonder, that we can see some more upside in the markets, and expiry week is going to be pretty interesting. Meantime, Gaurang, let's get in your views on the frontline index in terms of, the overall liquidity situation, how you've seen earnings shape up, and, whether or not this is likely to weigh down on the markets going forward, and is the upside going to be fairly limited and short-lived?
I think purely from an immediate short-term point of view, given the kind of earnings that we've had, we could possibly be trading in a range with the downside being protected and not a huge sell-off. But the best thing is that, over the last couple of days, we've seen the sell-side figures, especially from the FIs, get subdued a little bit, and the volatility which used to be earlier has also come down. Now, that gives you a little bit of comfort and the confidence as well. So my understanding is that you would possibly see, buying interest coming in stock-specific and sector-specific ideas. And of course, next week, like you were just mentioning, there is an FNO expiry, and the week after that, you will possibly be hearing from the RBI governor in terms of credit policy. So for next week or a fortnight, I think it's going to be driven by both these events. But post that, I think it's more prudent to see consolidation, make a base so that we can sustain the next leg, a move upwards.
Okay, let's discuss sectors then. And one clear outperformer was the IT pack, which gained more than 5% this week. Sahil, what are your thoughts on CNX IT pack and any particular stocks that you like from the space?
See, CNX IT, I think most likely there is a distribution pattern that is clearly visible. But right now, this week, I think it was a bounce back, which was long due pending because of the kind of correction that we saw in the IT pack. So I think this bounce back will eventually get sold into. I'm not really excited to go ahead and buy any of these names, frontline names, in terms of taking a long trade. Although on the mid cap space, persistent system is the one which appears to be a stock which can be bought on dips. But apart from that, I think specifically Wipro has a very weak chart, most likely levels of 540, 545. I think these levels will not hold for long, and possibly it will head towards 500. So if at all, if you want to play on IT, I think a short on Wipro will be the play in the next few weeks.
Okay, that's a call coming in. A short selling idea in the form of Wipro persistent is a buy recommendation. Meantime, let's get in some stocks going. And in terms of a slightly longer term view, Gaurang, what would be the ideas that you'd recommend?
So I think from 1 year plus time horizon, there are two stocks that we have identified purely from the mid-cap category, if you will. One is from the auto ancillary name. We saw the numbers. The Street was not pleased with those numbers. Bharat Forge is the stock that I'm talking about. And I think on fallback of that disappointing numbers, the correction that we saw yesterday, day before yesterday, I think it's priced in, and from here on the downside looks extremely protected. Given the and of course the management commentary on the outlook for the next quarter was also not all that exciting for the street. Stock got punished, and I think from current levels, you could definitely look at buying into Bharat Forge with a 1 year plus time horizon. You can look for a target of about 1380. A huge, ramp up in terms of investment, in terms of offtake of commercial vehicles, which will again be a positive for Bharat Forge. And of course, they have got presence in the overseas market as well. The company has also mentioned about venturing into defense, but that's a long gestation period that I'm talking about. Given the correction, I think the stock has become attractive from an investment point of view. 1380 should be the target from a 1 year plus time horizon. And the next one is Supreme Industries. Here again, the stock has been consolidating, moving upwards steadily. Investment horizon should be again 1 year plus, and we are looking at a target of about 800.
Okay, those are some recommendations coming in with a long-term horizon. And Sahil, what is it that you have on your list?
Yes, first one is Yes Bank. If you look at in the last 1.5 months post the results were declared, the stock had a lot of volatility. The range for that volatile move was about 870 on the upside and 790 on the downside. And there is a clear rectangle pattern that has formed in Yes Bank. And generally, when rectangles break, generally on the upside you see a very large move. So I expect it to go to about 1000 rupees, and stop loss below 810 should suffice. So you should buy Yes Bank. Second stock is Amara Raja Batteries. The stock has not performed since January. It reached the all-time high then, and it's been in a consolidation. It's a clear flag pattern. You could call it a pole and a flag, which clearly indicates that the rally in Amara Raja batteries is still not over. And I expect it to again move to levels of 990 to 1000. You could buy it here and keep a stop loss below 800 and expect it to move higher significantly.
Okay, so that's a slew of ideas that you have from a trading perspective as well as from a long-term investment view. On that note, Sahil as well as Gaurang, appreciate you taking the time out and joining in on this leg of BNSN Weekend. And with that, we're completely timed out from everyone that put the show together. Thanks for watching.